Today we'll be solving chapter 17 of Human Biology, Sylvia Mader, the 14th edition. As always, we'll solve the questions in the end of the chapter. Starting with question number 1. During the human life cycle, what process is responsible for reducing the number of chromosomes from 46 to the 23 found in gametes? So what process causes the nucleus to go from being diploid into haploid? And you know that this one is meiosis, also known as the reduction division, because we're reducing the numbers. Which of the following are similar features of the reproductive system of males and females? So I want something common. There's a site where meiosis occurs in the body. True, because in the male reproductive system it happens in the testes, and in the female reproductive system in the ovaries. They produce sex hormones. Also true, the testes produce testosterone, while the follicles they release progesterone and estrogen. They produce the gametes. Again true, because the sperm it's made in the testes along with the follicle stimulation, or you can say like the development of the ova. Again, it happens in the ovary. So all of these are correct. Question number 3, they want us to label. So we have so many different structures, and I think it will be better because I think it will be messy if I just say it out loud. So let me just show you this one, this picture. Yes, this is a female. Yes, this picture. You can pause the video and just take a look of all the structures. It would be better than me just saying it. I think there's also a question asking for the labeling of the female reproductive system. So this is the female. This is also coming again an overview of the inside structures. So coming to question number 4, testosterone is produced and secreted by testosterone. So it's secretion, not the sperm, okay? Seminiferous tubules, it's for the sperm, but they're asking about the testosterone. It is released, secreted by cells called the interstitial cells. Question number 5. Spermatogenesis occurs in the structure of the male reproductive system. So spermatogenesis is basically the production of sperm, and it occurs in the semi-inferior tubules. Question number 6, I already showed you the picture. Implantation. So implantation is when the zygote attaches to the uterus walls and becomes an embryo. Implantation occurs in what structure of the female reproductive system? So the uterine tubes are, in other words, the oviducts. So no, it occurs in the uterus. It's where the baby develops and spends its 9 months. Question number 8, this structure connects the ovary with the uterus. Okay, so as I told you, it's the uterine tube or oviduct. Some places it's known in some areas. Question number 9, the release of the oocyte, which is the cell that makes the ovums, from the follicle is caused by. So this is the cycle, the ovarian cycle, and we have 2 hormones that controls it. It is luteinizing hormone LH or the follicle stimulating hormone. So they're saying that the development or release of the ova, because oocyte from the follicle is caused by decreasing level of estrogen, a surge in the level of follicle stimulating hormone, a surge in the level of luteinizing hormone, progesterone released from the corpus luteum. So corpus luteum is after the follicle releases oocytes, so still this is coming at a later stage. And I just said now that estrogen, they are involved in the uterine cycle, but right now we're talking about the ovarian. And you can see that the word follicle, so the ova, it's released from the follicle by a surge in the level of FSH, follicle stimulating hormone. Question number 10, which of the following is not an event of the ovarian cycle? So the ovarian cycle, it basically talks about how the follicle is developing, maturing, and how the ovocyte is released, and what happens to the shell or the remaining follicle after it releases the oocyte, which will become corpus luteum. Which of the following is not event of the ovarian cycle? So follicle stimulating hormone, it promotes the development of a follicle. This is true, it happens. The endometrium thickens. This is endometrium, it's a layer of the uterus in which the embryo plants. The corpus luteum secretes progesterone. Yes, this is true. Ovulation of an egg occurs. So you can see that here we're talking about the ovarian cycle, and this is endometrium, as I told you. It is the walls of the uterus. So this one is not involved. Made the question number 11. So during pregnancy, the ovarian and uterine cycle occurs more quickly than before. GnRH is produced at higher levels than before. The ovarian and uterine cycles do not occur. The female secondary sex characteristics are not maintained. So this is obviously wrong. Ovarian and uterine cycle. So what are they? The ovarian cycle is basically the cycle of this whole of maturing and then releasing and everything. And how can they occur more quickly? And then you have your menstruation happening in the uterine cycle, where the walls thicken and then they shed. So if the baby is inside, if there's fertilization occurs, then you'll have no period, no menstruation. So the answer will be that the ovarian and uterine cycles, they do not occur, they halt, and what happens is that progesterone would be released by the corpus luteum to maintain its levels during the pregnancy. Questions 12 to 14 match each method of protection with a means of birth control. Okay, so each method of protection and its means of birth control. So it blocks the entrance of sperm to uterus. So to block the entrance, obviously a condom, diaphragm, which is the female condom, oral contraception, vasectomy. Vasectomy. Yeah. I have a vasectomy, the seminal fluid, it will not contain sperm. So I can also group it here because it blocks entrance of sperm to the uterus. But here they're talking about a block, so I think physical block. I'm reading too much into the words, but I don't think they meant vasectomy here because it said blocks entrance. Coming to number 13, let me change the color. Okay. Traps sperm and prevents STDs. So it traps sperms and prevents STDs. A condom again, diaphragm. IUD doesn't. Contraception again doesn't. Vasectomy also doesn't. In the case it does, has no sperm, but will it prevent an STD? I don't think so. Prevents implantation of an embryo. So to prevent the implantation of the embryo, you will have to use an IUD because it will what the IUD does is that it makes the uterus secrete more mucus, and when the uterus secretes more mucus on its walls, obviously the mucus is sticky, so the embryo, it cannot fuse with the walls of the uterus, so it cannot plant in the walls of the uterus. Question number 15. Which of the following can be treated using antibiotics? Antibiotics for bacteria. Herpes is a viral infection. Hepatitis, again viral. Chlamydia is a bacterial infection. HIV, the V in it stands for virus. Yeah. Question number 16. The bacterium, this one, causes which of the following? So we're talking about the bacterium. Gonorrhea, it's caused by Neisseria gonorrhea. Syphilis, I think so. Hepatitis, it's virus, so what are we doing here? Chlamydia, I think chlamydia, its bacterium has the name chlamydia in its scientific name, so I think I will go with syphilis. And that was the last question. Hope you guys understood this chapter, and if you have any questions, please write it in the comments, and as always, thanks for watching. Bye.